You are listening to episode 72, Exploring the Therapeutic Benefits of Food with Althea Simpson.
Welcome to Play Therapy Community Podcast, providing connection, information, and inspiration to child therapists all around the world. Here's your host, a licensed psychotherapist, a registered play therapist, and my mom, Jackie Flynn.
It is important to know that this episode was recorded before COVID-19, so you may hear mention of opportunities no longer available.
Not too long ago, I had a challenging situation with one of my clients. This little one, and I won't say any of the details because of client confidentiality, but I will let you know that this child was young and was being placed into yet another foster home after several placements prior to that. They were being moved from what they thought was a potentially forever home. So, needless to say, my heart dropped. I cried that night as I was going to sleep. I was confused. I was overwhelmed. I was sad. I was heartbroken. I actually felt inadequate, so I knew I needed some support to be a support. I needed some help in knowing what to do, special tips or techniques or strategies. I needed space. I needed some space to process through all that was happening internally for me so that I could fully be present with the client. So I reached out to Althea Simpson. She was just a recent guest on my Innovative Child Therapy Symposium. And it was such a strange situation where we did 2 recordings because somehow I lost the first recording. So I got to spend 2 hours with her. And she told me about this story about how she made s'mores for her client in her office. Oh, this girl is amazing. Wait till you hear her. She's so energizing and so inspirational. And that story is so funny and crazy and loving and helpful. And she's really connected to her clients. And she has some pretty challenging cases. She's a trauma therapist and she's really good. I knew she could help. Even just thinking about that, I can still feel some of the emotionality return as I remember, like the care and the wisdom that she offered that day. I emailed her and she sent me back emails of images showing me different activities I could do with the client that would help. And she reminded me to have food. Food. Why didn't I think of that? Food, of course. Yeah, I remembered our conversation. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I really can't keep snacks in my office because I eat them. If I know there's some snacks in my office, I am forever snacking on them. I struggle with the willpower. But upon her recommendation, I went out and I got some goldfish crackers. I got some Andy's candies. We had some little juice boxes. And she was right. Everything was different than what I imagined it to be. The session, it was difficult. That's when the child found out about the upcoming change. But it was different. It was more nurturing, more connected. She described how many children that experience trauma and neglect, they associate food and like snacks and things like that with safety and security. It's nurturing. So her suggestion was amazing. So if you haven't met Althea yet, you're in for a treat. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation with her. So here is my conversation with Althea Simpson. This episode is brought to you by EMDR and Play Therapy Integration Support. Are you an EMDR trained therapist that works with children and teens? I'd love to help you integrate play therapy techniques throughout all 8 phases so that your child and teen clients can fully experience the immense healing power of EMDR therapy. Visit JackieFlynnConsulting.com to check out my free webinars, EMDRIA approved courses, certification opportunities, case consultation options, individual and group, and much more. Children are not miniature adults, so working with them in a developmentally appropriate way can make a world of difference. Again, visit JackieFlynnConsulting.com.
Hi, Althea.
Hi, Jackie. How are you?
Great, great. Thank you so much for being on the Play Therapy Community Podcast. You know, I am like such a huge fan of yours. I first found out about you through our Play Therapy Community Facebook group. And one of the things that really caught my eye, one of many, was just how you connected the therapeutic use of food. I had put a post in that Facebook group on who allows food in session, and your response just floored me about how not only do you allow it, sometimes you use it in a therapeutic way. It can be nurturing, and it's actually part of our survival mechanism. So I'm paraphrasing, but that's before I even knew you. So then fast forward, you were on the Innovative Child Therapy Symposium, and you brought it up again, and I had a really tough dilemma, like a case that I was working with, and I reached out to you for some supervision because you're a supervisor and you're incredible. And in this case, you had mentioned, hey, have some snacks available, make it, really comfortable, warm, nurturing setting. And that made all the difference. So when I thought about what do I want to talk about on my podcast today, I thought about, gosh, I would love for Althea to talk about the therapeutic use of food in session, because it truly is a game changer when it's done correctly. I know there's certain applications, but it's good stuff.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And I found it and so primarily I work with children in foster care. Mm-hmm. So there's been neglect, and abuse, and food is not only is it survival, and a lot of kids, didn't have it, but it's one of our basic needs. And so, and so kids who are insecure around, not because of their abuse or their background or neglect, or not even neglect, because sometimes in economic times, parents just don't have the money to offer a lot of food and stuff. So it may not even be connected to abuse or neglect, but it's still that security and that basic need that need to be met. So and having a lack of food can make kids feel insecure. So offering it in a therapeutic setting, I found it gives them a sense of security.
Absolutely. And as I reflect back on a lot of my sessions over the years, there's a lot of food related trauma, whether it's not having enough food or being forced to eat a certain food, or some shame involving food or body image, anything like that. So it's a big part of our life. So it just makes sense that it would come into therapy in some way.
Yes, and it just happened. I guess right out of social work school. So I've been using food in therapy for more than 8-9 years, maybe 10 years. I was working at a community mental health organization, and one of the things that I noticed is that kids working with them right after school, they were not present. And I didn't realize that they eat breakfast they eat lunch. Some kids ate lunch at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And then they went the rest of the day. And then I get them right after school, and they're not focused and stuff. But when I offered that first snack, and it just changed the trajectory of the session and stuff. And the kid became more focused, more involved, but more so I did it because of the whole, them eating at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and then they have to be in a session from, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on what type of services, because I used to do intensive community-based intensive work as well. And sometimes their sessions were an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I started my own private practice in 2011, I just incorporated that into as a part of my practice, having snacks that they can eat during their session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you think about it, it's like the bottom of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Physiologically, they need that nourishment. Like, how are you going to focus if you're hungry?
Yes. Yes, but I also one of the things I wanted to mention is that I secure the consent of the parent, and you have to be careful with kids who may have. And when I say kids, I'm talking about anyone under the age of 18, because I certainly have teenagers who are like, "You're out of my Nutter Butters."
Make my mouth water.
Yes, and I remember processing that with my supervisor when I was in play therapy supervision, and I was like, okay, I got kind of, I felt some kind of way because I didn't have the type of snacks that they want. And my supervisor was like, that's because you offer way too many choices. And I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, it is what it is. I want them to have what they eat, but when it run out, then they just have to wait until it select, which wasn't a problem for them. They just have to select what's there, because I only go to Sam's every 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. So they have to select what's there. But yeah, it's definitely something that changed the focus and stuff for my kids in practice, but not just kids. I have adults that I sit in and we snack in therapy. And when we do that, bringing it in as a therapeutic component, it's food. When you think about food, it's relational and it's comforting.
Absolutely. And connecting. And when in the therapeutic relationship, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is that therapeutic relationship. It far surpasses any kind of amazing training that you may have on some specific type of therapy. It's that relationship that is core, and connecting through like food and being able to nourish ourselves can be just so healing. And so you used the word secure earlier. I think about safety and security. If our clients don't feel safe and secure in session, and especially if they're hungry, how are they going to get all that good therapeutic work done?
Yes, and I also and I'm very intentional about food too. So not even beyond the snacks or providing snacks in the therapeutic session, I actually cook in my office. I have a hot dog roller.
I love you, girl. You're so fun.
Yes, I have a hot dog roller. Because if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. I like
in Althea style.
It's like, so I'm not going to throw any hot dogs in the microwave, but if that's what people have and they want to bring it in, then by all means. But when I realized that I was going to make food a part of my therapeutic practice and stuff, I started putting things in my office that will allow me to do that. So I have a hot dog roller. I have the what do you call it? A popcorn machine, a cotton candy, one of the small tabletop cotton candy machines. I have the thing. What do you call it? The griddle, because I make grilled cheese. It depends on the kid. It depends on it really depends on the kid and what their favorite food is, and some stuff that I'm not able to make, or I probably could make it, but I want the experience to be great for them, because I'm introducing content that is going to be upsetting or cause some type of emotional arousal. So I find out what their favorite food, what is their favorite food, and we will grill cheese or make hot dogs. I've even gone out and purchased sushi. uh, so it really depends on the kid, and again, I secure I secure permission from the parents or the caregivers to do this, but it's comforting making hot chocolate, especially when I'm doing trauma work and going to introduce something that may cause emotional arousal.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention that you get consent from the parents. What are some things to keep in mind for therapists that may think of starting this in their practice?
Keep in mind of the age of the child. And but you also have to make sure that they don't have any allergies. Yes. So you want to make sure they don't have any allergies or they're not restricted, because like a lot of kids who have impulsivity issues or ADHD, a lot of parents take away fruit snacks and stuff that have red dyes in it and stuff like that. Yes. So you just want to be aware of the needs of the client.
That's a good point. So getting consent, really making sure that they don't have any allergies that you don't know about, and that if there's any kind of restrictions, such as the dyes or any kind of adverse reactions that could happen from the foods.
Yes, and I remember my first time and my last time ever having gluten-free crackers.
Yeah, like little pieces of cardboard. No, I mean, at least that's what it feels like for me.
Yes. But I suffered through eating those gluten-free crackers and cheese for the kid. I mean, and then it's just so amazing with some of the stuff that they come up with that they want. And as long as the parents say it's okay, it's okay for me, because the goal is for them to be able to work through the issues that brought them to therapy.
Yeah, you know what I think really strikes me as cool about you, one of a gazillion things, is that you care to that level to really ask them, first of all, what their favorite food is. You go out and you have that food available, and then you make that happen in your time together. When you feel like someone cares, that is so very healing, especially if that's one of the things that feels like a deficit in your life. It's just beautiful. I mean, you have some passion in a huge way. I mean, it comes out in so many ways other than this, but this is really showing it. I think the fact that you go to that extent to let a client know that you matter.
Absolutely, because they do. And sometimes the relationship that they have with their therapist is the closest relationship that they have, especially the population that I work with. But even the clients that I have that are not in the foster care system, they come to us at their most vulnerable, and they tell us the good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. And so I also do that to honor them, especially, like I said, when I'm going to go down a road that I know that's going to cause them some type of discomfort. And so the food, it can communicate the nutrients in a nonverbal way. It communicates the nutrients, safety that we talked about for the therapist, that the therapists care. And if you're having parents to incorporate food in their time with their kids, it can communicate love from parents and caregivers.
Absolutely. I had Jill Castle. She's a registered pediatric dietitian on here, and she was talking about just meal times and how that is such an important family time. And for some families, it's very chaotic because there's a lot of like relational distress and just overall, need for some healing, and how we can also, teach our parents about certain tips and tricks that they can do around mealtime or snack time, just to, heal those relationships and keep the family healthy.
Yes, absolutely. It is so important. And one of the things that I encourage parents, encourage parents, especially foster parents, when using food, and that's why the relationship with the parents have to be there too, because even if a child is on restriction and they're not able to have any extras or any rewards and stuff, I ask the parent to not allow that restriction to come into the playroom, because it can damage my relationship with the child, and also because I don't want to get put in a parental role, but also it can put a halt or stall to the work that they're doing, especially if I'm using food as in a therapeutic way. And so we go through, and so what I do is I have the session or the check-in with the parent and the child, letting them know that you're still on restriction at home, but for your work here, we have agreed that, the parent and I have agreed that I can use this food to help you here.
Oh, I love that. And keeping the child in the loop, because that can be kind of confusing for the child, but the way that you explain it clears it all up.
Yes, absolutely. And so I ask the parents not to use, not to use food and snacks as a punishment or a consequence, because that can damage relationships. Again, with that, like my security is being snatched away from me.
As well, yeah. Yeah, as well as like, I think about even just a relationship with food. You don't want to, I'm not a big fan of using food or snacks as a consequence. As much, I just think withholding things, you want to keep things in that healthy realm as much as possible. But what you're saying is keeping that therapy space kind of sacred in some sense, to where that's a place where they can just be, and their restrictions and stuff don't really apply there, but keeping them in
Yes.
the loop. Hey, before we finish up today, I do want to, I know you have a great way of describing the importance of seeking out consultation and supervision, even after you've met your internship requirements, even after you've done whatever you need to do that's required of you. You said one time, and I can't remember how you said it, but you said you're a big believer in just having that support, that go-to, to say what's going on and have someone give you feedback. And I know you're a supervisor yourself, but you also reach out for consultation and supervision when necessary, as do I. So if you could talk a little bit about that, I think it's great to normalize it and let people know that that's a thing. Just because you meet your requirements doesn't mean that you stop reaching out for support through supervision and consultation.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have an ethical responsibility to continue to um, seek support even after licensure. And sometimes I know I see a lot of therapists that want to do, peer consultation, which is great, or group peer consultation. But sometimes you need to really go reach out to a licensed professional who offers consultation and professional supervision. I've received professional supervision since I opened my practice. And it started out more frequently when I started my practice, and now it's once a month. And then it went to once a month after probably 2 or 3 years, and now it's at least once a quarter. It's so important because we don't know everything, and we can't read everything. And also having that space with a consultant, clinical consultant, can help us to see things that we normally wouldn't see, or something that we're missing. And I know for me, as a trauma therapist, my lens sometimes colors.
Mm-hmm.
Our experiences color our lenses. And so I may be missing something that I need to talk through with my professional supervisor in consultation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super important for us to continue consultation because we don't know everything.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That we don't know everything. That that is so true. It's funny. The more I learn, the more I realize that I need to learn even more. So you're not just a supervisor; you are a registered play therapist supervisor as well. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm a registered play therapist supervisor right now, and I think I have 10 people under supervision right now. So currently I'm only supervising the people under my Play Therapy Academy. So I have a Play Therapy Academy. So my individual supervision is only done with those in my Play Therapy Academy. But I also have a group supervision that anyone can sign up for to attend, and it is limited to 6 people per group supervision.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I totally forgot to we jumped right in. I didn't even get to let people know what you have to offer. Like, you're not only just a supervisor, you're not only just an amazing trauma therapist, but you help people with their businesses, business coaching. Can you tell people about who you are and what you do?
Well, I am a business strategist. So I've been helping small businesses, smaller businesses, mental health practices. So I'm a clinical consultant for smaller agencies, usually intensive in-home and therapeutic day treatment programs. But I also help private practice owners or budding private practice owners start or grow their business. And I also do play therapy training. So I have a Play Therapy Academy and a Unicorn Life Play Therapy Training Institute. So I do a lot of training under Unicorn Life Play Therapy.
That's awesome. And you have some great videos out there. I literally love everything you do. You're like into
thank you.
Legos. I mean, everything. You're incredible. Okay.
Yes, Legos I love. I mean, I never used to use Legos until I did the Lego Serious Play certification. So I am a Lego Serious Play facilitator, certified Lego Serious Play facilitator, which is a business design strategy model. So I did that certification actually for my consulting business, but it was so easy to incorporate it into my therapy, private practice and training.
That is so cool. I've had a handful of clients over the years that literally only used Legos in session, and it was so profound. Like, the processing that happened with the Legos, it's hard to even imagine, but it goes even deeper than that. So you have a lot to offer on every level. That's great. You're amazing. So let me have you just kind of tell people where they can find you and get any of your services that you have to offer. Any like social media, websites, anything like that.
So my website is unicornlifetraining.net. And my social media is Althea Simpson on Facebook, and I can't remember what my handle is on Twitter. And it's
We'll put it in the show notes.
And it's Althea Biz on Instagram.
Okay, that sounds good. Biz with a Z, probably, right?
Yes, BIZ.
Okay.
Althea Simpson Biz on Instagram.
Well, Althea, thank you so much. Like always, like my cheeks are tired from smiling and laughing after talking to you. So you really have some heart and soul.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You take care. Bye-bye.
You too. All right, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Play Therapy Community Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for this episode and explore our growing members' library of play therapy related resources at www.playtherapycommunity.com. Prepare to be informed, equipped, inspired, and supported.